the dry clean ticket with my name and someone else's jacket. The ticket was stapled to a wire hanger the way a thought gets attached to a day, lightly, like it's doing you a favor. I don't drop off dry cleaning. I own 2 jackets, both with cuffs that apologize for trying. But there it was at the corner laundromat, swinging from a rack by the door where the owner keeps lost things. A navy jacket with a paper tag that read in tidy block letters, "For Nate." That's my name. Under it, someone had written in pen, "If you still fix instead of perform, 6:15, bench by the vending machine, bring water." It was 6:03. The vending machine had one job and too many lights. The bench knew what benches know, how to help you not score a scene. I stood there with a bottle from the corner store and the kind of curiosity that doesn't pretend to be fate. I fix bicycles for a living in a narrow shop that smells like rubber and afternoons that learn to be useful. I live with Aaron, who arranges exhibits at the small museum 2 blocks over, which means he understands quiet and how to keep it fed. We've been together long enough to keep the good forks close and the word, always, somewhere out back where it can't trip us. A man sat on the bench in a gray hoodie that had retired from assertions. He had a bike helmet hanging off his backpack and 2 paper cups upside down between us like he'd been rehearsing a small ceremony in private. He didn't stand when I approached, which made me feel safe instead of ignored. "You're Nate," he said, not a question, the ground wire version of hello. "Yeah," I said, lifting the hanger with the jacket. "Are you R?" "Ryan," he said, offering the half-smile of a person who knows how to be careful without being dull. "R made it easier to be brave in case you weren't you." He tapped one of the cups. "I thought we'd pour instead of order." I set the jacket over the bench back like a guest and the bottle on the cup's rim like a promise. "Why me?" I asked. "And why my name on a jacket I've never met?" "Because last Thursday I watched you at the bike stand," he said. "A woman brought in a commuter with a chain that wanted to live elsewhere. You didn't make a speech. You added one link, cleaned the grit, and told her to shift like you mean it, without making it sound like judgment." He looked at the ceiling like it might endorse what he was doing. "I keep trying to add chain where I should add air, and I'm done pretending it's the same skill." I slid onto the bench. The owner's radio was trying to cheer somebody in another language. "What are we actually doing here?" I asked. "Getting smaller on purpose," he said. "I'm trying to retire the part of me that thinks leaving early is dramatic instead of unhelpful." He pulled out a cloth-bound notebook, a kind born for pockets and lists, and set it on the bench. On the first page, stamped in small, calm letters, "Provisional Rules." Under them, written by a hand that respected the lines. "Nostalgia may testify, it doesn't sentence. If either of us says water, we pause. No theatrical exits. If leaving is needed, leave, don't perform it. Kind beats clever. Sit where an exit can be seen. These keep planning meetings from humiliating the actual work," he said. "They do the same for kitchens." "I have a 6th I use," I said. He handed me the pen the way you hand a wrench handle first. I wrote 6. "If we become cowards, we say so in the present tense." He nodded like a bolt coming home. "All right," he said. "Water." We poured. For 2 minutes we let plastic be useful, and the fluorescent light pretend it knew what mercy felt like. He told me he works on the city's lighting team. His days are lumen counts and crosswalk times, making streets safer without giving them a taste for applause. I told him about torque wrenches and stubborn seat posts, about how often the trick is to stop pretending the tool is a wand. "Does Aaron know you're here?" he asked later. "Not a test, an electrician's check." "He knows I went to return an afternoon," I said. "He also knows we don't start any real sentence without water." Good, Ryan said. Will you try something with me? He flipped to a blank page and drew a line down the middle. At the top of the left column he wrote keep. At the top of the right, avoid. 3 lines each, he said. No adjectives we can't carry all week. I wrote, keep the size of our dinners, the chair near the door, the way Aaron says weight, smaller screwdriver. Avoid always. Avoid letting jokes hold the weight honesty deserves. Avoid polishing a scar that isn't a problem. He wrote fast, folded the page like a letter that respects the postal service, and didn't ask to read mine. We walked outside into the kind of evening that doesn't mind being borrowed. The jacket's sleeves brushed my hand like memory trying to be weather. This isn't yours, is it? I asked. Not even close, Ryan said. But the man who dropped it looked enough like you that I asked the owner to let it be bait. He said, okay, if you put it back if it's wrong. I'm good for the deposit. What do you want to repair that a jacket can't? I asked, because it helps to ask the thing you think is too blunt. He took a long breath that wasn't nervous, just true. I've been with Michael 11 years, he said. He is not the problem. We have a word we've used for a long time. It's fine as a noun. It keeps trying to be a parade. He looked at the laundromat door like it might go outside with us if we asked. I wanted to talk to someone who adds a link instead of adding a speech. I'm available for modest miracles, I said. I can also tell you when to stop. We started meeting where the city doesn't mind being seen failing a little. A park bench that hosts more good pauses than declarations. A diner that remembers coffee before it remembers opinion. My shop after closing, the rubber smell deciding to be a kindness. He brought mandarins. I brought a little square mat with a window cut out and a word printed for the month. January was air, February, exit, March enough. He liked that the word could be swapped without changing the frame. That's all I want from the word we keep arguing with, he said. Permission to swap connotation without buying a new noun. At home, I told Aaron about the jacket and the rules and the bench. It's not a secret, I said. It's an instruction manual. He put 2 glasses on the table, which is his way of saying I heard the important bit. Add this to your manual, he said. On a sticky note, he wrote, promises must fit in a jacket pocket. He stuck it on the fridge next to a printout that says put words away clean like they were hex keys. A week later, my phone rang with the kind of ring that doesn't try to be delicate. My mother had fallen crossing the kitchen. The femur wanted attention it didn't deserve. I sent 2 messages, water to Aaron, who replied already poured, and the same to Ryan, who sent a picture of 2 cups on a stoop, and the caption also this holds. I stayed in a chair that remembered different nurses from different years. My mother woke from surgery with the sentence I'll keep under my tongue. It doesn't burn anymore. When I got home, the apartment smelled like cumin and patience. Aaron said, what did you fix today? And I said, nothing alone. Work didn't change because I was more tender. It changed because the torque spec on shame got turned down. I told a man that his carbon seat post needed grease the way your sentences need breathing room. I told a teenage kid she wasn't slow, her chainring was. She cried anyway and then laughed at herself for crying in a room that had chain lube. I pointed to the sink. Water, I said, and everybody understood it wasn't a joke. If this were the kind of story that impresses strangers here, where I'd write a kiss under a neon that thinks it's the moon, but we didn't recruit a neon for what we can do with a glass. There was a lunch the 3 of us because sometimes rooms deserve to meet each other. Ryan picked a place that serves stews that are sure of themselves. We sat where we could see the door. We ordered quietly. We said water when a sentence began to strain. Aaron explained a term he uses when prepping exhibits, sightedness, and said it's how you choose where to stand so the thing you want to see is actually seeable. Ryan wrote it in his notebook like a guy who respects line of sight. In May, the bus we rode stopped and stayed stopped because the gearbox had decided to read a different book. No one shouted. Ryan took 2 cups out like he'd been told by a decent future to keep them handy. The kid across the aisle pretended to glare at his phone. His eyes were glassy. Ryan handed him a cup without speech. He drank and didn't say thank you, and no one needed him to. By July, our 3 nightly lines, keep and avoid, had the reliability of city trash day. Keep the small dinners, keep the chair by the door, keep the patience to add a link instead of a lecture. Avoid always. Avoid jokes that try to be honesty's graduation. Avoid polishing a story until it can't find a grip. Sometimes Aaron added his own one line, whether report to our thread. Words away, tools away, like a lullaby for an argument we hadn't yet earned. I kept the dry clean ticket in the drawer where I hoard salvaged chain pins and the kind of screws major stores pretend not to stock. When I could afford it, I had the laundromat press my modest jacket. The owner tucked a new tag in the sleeve that read simply VALIDATED. I liked the word more than I expected to. It's the receipt for doing nothing flashy correctly. Once a man brought me a fixed gear with a brake he'd added because his girlfriend had insisted. "It looks wrong," he said, sheepish with love. "It looks like care," I said, and adjusted it so it wouldn't squeal. He nodded. "If it squeals anyway," I said, "you stop and adjust again. The sound is just the bike saying, 'Please learn me better.'" He patted the top tube like a nervous dog. "Thanks," he said. "No one told me I'm allowed to stop." I put a printed card in his pocket that says pause, because I want strangers to think they invented prudence. Ryan and Michael tried a version of our rules that made sense for them. Rule 1 held. Rule 2 saved 3 potential disasters at the stovetop. Rule 3 kept them from making exits that required applause. "We don't get graded anymore," Ryan told me one night. "It's like moving the screws back to useful." "Do you think we're ridiculous?" I asked Aaron while we folded towels into a peace agreement. "Jackets and rules and water and exits." He kissed my shoulder as if there were a statute about kissing shoulders at the end of days that didn't bite. "I think you're practicing," he said. "I think this is what the manuals for families should have been before anyone tried to sell them." In December, Ryan walked into my shop with a box that said courtesy lights and 2 clip-on LEDs that intend only to help. "For your winter bench," he said. I handed him a little window mat with return printed in museum font. "In case something good wants a name." He hung it in his kitchen. Michael didn't ask for an explanation. He put it next to the corkscrew where you reach without thinking. If this were a parable, I'd end it with a moral and apologize for the easy landing. Instead, I want the ending to keep doing what it's been doing all along, refusing to be an ending when a hinge would do. So here it is. Tonight the laundromat owner is closing early. She has a grandchild who insists on time. I hang the navy jacket on the lost and found rack with the better hanger I can afford now. The dry clean ticket is back in my drawer with the chain pins. The rule card on our fridge is smudged but legible. We sit at the table, 2 cups already there so we don't have to be wise first. We say the word when the sentence strains. We point out the exit like it's a friend, not a dare. We keep dinner small and kind. We let the scratch be proof of history, not failure. And when something still squeals, we stop and adjust. We do not argue with the sound. If another jacket swings at the laundromat with my name on a tag, I'll check the pockets for a folded rule or a decent joke. I'll bring water. I'll sit on the bench by the vending machine that never learned subtlety. I'll tell whoever wrote the tag that most bikes only need 1 link more and less panic. We'll pour, not order. We'll write 3 lines each and keep the ones we can carry. We'll put words away clean. We'll walk home with the smallest possible ceremony, holding onto the notion that staying is not a stunt, it's a habit. And tomorrow, when the shop opens and the first pedal calls for attention, I'll do what the ticket asked in the first place: fix instead of perform.